Well, hello BookTube, hello book friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel and another video. My weekly reading wrap up, what I've been reading this week. It's Friday the 24th today, so I'm coming a day earlier than I normally do. I normally do these on a Saturday, but the weather outside is absolutely foul, so I thought I would stay indoors and record a video instead. So you have the weather to thank. If you are elsewhere in the UK where reports are the weather is going to be worse, take care, look after yourself, and I hope you don't suffer any damage or anything like that. Anyway, what have I been reading this week? Well, when I did my last video, uh, weekly read, I think it was my last video actually. I don't think I've recorded anything this week. I've been so busy. I was just about to start, literally just about to go off and start reading Lord of the Flies by William Golding, which in this volume is the first story in the volume. This was going to be a buddy read with, or was a buddy read with Debs at Rainer Read Stuff, and I think it's fair to say we were both expecting it to take a little bit longer than it did. Because I think we both read it in more or less a day. I certainly read it. I started it and I kind of finished it that evening. And I think Debs was the same. I think for me, this was a reread. For Debs, it was her first, not her first attempt, but the first time she's actually read it all the way through. It's a book that we were both assigned at school as a part of our whatever O-levels, and I read it and Debs didn't. I'm sure she'll talk about it when she does her weekly update. But for me, my memory of the book was that I enjoyed it, but also that it was probably a lot longer than it actually is. Now, in this volume, it's 180 something, 182 pages, which isn't very big. It's not a very big book, and it's not like this is small type or anything. It's just a fairly standard typeface. So yeah, I was expecting it to take like 2 or 3 days, maybe a bit longer, and I think that's probably because it's the sort of book that I guess when you're reading it in a class of, I don't know, 30 or however many, it probably takes a bit of time and you do a chapter a lesson. And I reckon this probably took us an entire term, so about 10, 11, 12 weeks to read, which I think meant in the back of my mind, I was thinking it was going to take a few days, but not a bit of it. So yes, so we both read it. I think it's fair to say we both enjoyed it. We had a quick video chat on Monday about it, and I think probably we've come to similar conclusions, that shipwrecking, or I think they were in an airplane actually, or what's described as an airplane, and being abandoned on a desert island, as a group of boys, so it's all boys, and I think they pretty much behave, because although there are some what are called litlands, which I think are like 6 years old and below, most of them are kind of pubescent teenagers, for want of a better term, and they're boys, and they pretty much do what you would expect boys of that age to do, and it all descends into anarchy, really. I'm pretty surprised that any of them survived. If they hadn't been rescued when they were, spoiler, sorry, I think none of them would have survived. I think they would have just ended up killing one another or dying by, misadventure or accident. I mean, fairly early on, they nearly kind of set fire to the whole island, and at the end, they pretty much did the same thing. There were quite a few of them who were, who were murdered, basically. I don't think any of them you could truly say died accidentally. They were it was either murder or manslaughter, put it that way. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good. I mean, I was a bit worried that my memory wasn't going to stand up. And like 40 years on, 40 years on, I was going to be like, hang on a minute, this is a bit naff. But no, it was a good read. Yeah, I'm pleased I did. And it sparked a kind of desire to go back and read some of the other books that I was assigned at school. I picked up a copy of A Kestrel for a Knave by Barry Hines last week or the week before. And I think I did show that in my second-hand bookshop haul. And that was a book I was assigned at school. So I will reread that one. And again, excuse me. And again, that was a book that I remember enjoying. So it'll be interesting to see if I still enjoy it. And then I'm trying to think, there are a few Shakespeare plays which I will reread. And Inspector Calls by J.B. Priestley. And Billy Liar by, I want to say Keith Waterston, but I'm not sure that's correct. I could just have made that name up off the top of my head. Something like that, I think. And I don't remember enjoying Inspector Calls and Billy Liar that much. So it'd be interesting to see if my views have changed. So yeah, so I think that might just be a kind of side quest book project. I'm not going to make it a big thing because I have tried to find a book list for the syllabus that I studied, and I haven't been able to find one. So I can only go on the books that I can remember, and perhaps there are others that I probably don't remember, and I suspect there are others on the list that these were on that we didn't read because you only had to read, one from this, one from this day, one from this B, or whatever it is, and I haven't been able to find that list, so can't do much about that. So yeah, that was Lord of the Flies. Really enjoyed that. Thanks, Debs, for buddy reading it with me. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed our chat on Monday. And yeah, if you're ever up for another buddy read, let me know. Then I went on to read a book on my Kindle, which was John Gardner's, and I have to put a thing up here or here. John Gardner's Nostradamus Traitor, which was a spy thriller written in the late 1970s, and is set initially in the late 1970s, but the bulk of the story happens as a debrief of a current and former agent who served in the Second World War as part of the SOE, so the Special Operations Executive. And it was the bulk of the story was his mission into occupied France, Paris, and elsewhere, to try and trick the German High Command with the prophecies of Nostradamus, which the High Command were very interested in because they mentioned Hitler by name and so on. So there are all sorts of, and so it's got tentative links to fact, but it's a complete work of fiction. and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun read. It's one book, first book in a series, of which I think there are another 4. So I think it's a 5 or maybe a 6-book series. 5 books, I don't know. So I will probably carry on reading the series. And yeah, let's just say it had a bit of a twist at the end, which I didn't really see coming. I did kind of think I got a hint of that it wasn't going to be quite the end of the story as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, that was a really fun read. So I'd recommend that if you're into kind of spy thriller, or kind of Second World War type spy stories. Probably a good book for you. If that's not your thing, then you're probably not going to enjoy it, I'm afraid, because it is very much centered around that. And then when I finished that, I went back to The Count of Monte Cristo, and I'm still reading The Count, but made quite a lot of progress this week. So as you can see, that's where my bookmark is, and I am nearly halfway through. I think I'm a shade off. I'm about, can't remember how many pages it is now. I'm about 20 pages off being halfway through. So yeah, this is, I mean, I am enjoying this, I have to say. I mean, it might be a long, I mean, you know, it's a big chunky 1462 page book, but it is good. I am enjoying it. And I don't think I'm going to get this finished this month though. Although I've read, what did I keep track now. I've read over 300 pages this week, so that's pretty good going. It's a kind of, you know, a normal, more or less another normal sized book. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to read the other, whatever, 700 odd pages before the end of the month. That'll be what? And it's the end of the month. Next week? Must be. Thursday or Friday? Anyway, doesn't matter. Don't think I'm going to get this read in that time. I might, but this week's been really busy, and I think next week's going to be just as busy. So I think it'll probably be another couple of weeks. And February is Holmes is Where the Heart Is, where I'm mostly going to be reading Sherlock Holmes fiction. So that's it for this week. I hope wherever you are, you're staying safe, warm and dry. And I will speak to you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.